Welcome to the Homemade Mother. My name is Jasmine and this is my channel. Welcome back. We are doing another pizza mix for our series Trial and Error. For this pizza mix, we are doing Namaste. This is a brand that I don't know very well. I've had zero experience with. So we are literally trying this on a whim and hoping that it turns out. It looks like it's gonna be good, but it's really hard to say. Now, the nice thing about this mix is it tells me specifically that it makes 2 crusts. That's really useful to know, and I'm glad that they write it in a big, bold yellow rating. So for the mix on the side, it actually only tells me enough of everything for 1 crust. I'm gonna make 2 because I'm not just making this pizza for myself. I am going to be making this crust for my family as well. So I will be making both of the crusts. So I will be doubling the recipe that is on the side of this. With that being said, let's jump in. Okay, for this recipe, you will need this box, 2 teaspoons of oil. Doesn't really seem like it would make a dent. And then 2.5 cups of water. That's it. Okay, let's try this out. So one of the things that really appealed to me when I was purchasing this pizza crust mix was the fact that they actually have spices in their mix. So this dough isn't gonna be totally flavorless. It's gonna actually have a bit of flavor and smells pretty good. So I'm really hoping that this turns out because I bet it would be delicious. All right, so we have our mix in here. I'm gonna add our 2 teaspoons of oil, which is like nothing. I'm not even sure you'll notice it, but it's following the recipe. And now I'm gonna add my 2.5 cups of water. All right, and it says to keep mixing for 3 minutes. So we're just gonna let it mix it up for a little bit and see how it turns out. All right, so we've mixed it for 3 minutes and it's the consistency of cake batter, which I don't know about you guys, but for a pizza dough mix, not really what I'm wanting. But it actually does say that specifically on the box. And that's really important because otherwise I would assume that I did something wrong and would automatically throw it away because clearly I screwed up. But because it says that it's supposed to be the consistency of cake batter on the box, we've got it right, and we're going to continue on to the next step, which is putting it on the pan. So I'm gonna split this in half and put half of it on a pizza pan and see how it turns out. I don't know, guys, this is not what normal dough looks like. All right, so we've got our batter, we've got our pizza pan, we have avocado oil to put on the bottom so that it doesn't burn, and a brush to spread it around. So the first thing I'm gonna do is add a little bit of oil to my pan. Now, it doesn't actually say that on the instructions, but with pizza crust, I never wanna leave it without some sort of non-stick. And then what we're going to do is pour half of this onto our pan. Okay, and then what it says is to spread it around like you're icing a cake. So it said very specifically not to leave the crust too thick, so we want to make sure that we're trying to keep it even throughout the pan. Okay, so we've got our pizza crust. It feels really weird to have it in this form, but I think it'll turn out. So what it says next is to bake it in the oven at 450 Fahrenheit for 20 minutes. Now, it says to bake it before you put toppings on it. So we're gonna bake it, see what it looks like, and then I'm gonna add all of the toppings that I would normally add. I baked my pizza, so I did what the recipe said, and I pre-cooked the crust for 20 minutes at 450. Then I put all my toppings on and cooked it again. And this is what it looks like. Honestly, it doesn't look too terrible, but when I was trying to get the crust off of the pan, it was a very real struggle. even though I oiled the pan, it just got stuck. It did not want to come off at all, which was very disappointing. It was a real struggle to actually get a nice piece. Like, we were on the verge of just having little bits and pieces because it really didn't want to come off. And like I said, I oiled the pan. So I guess if you were trying to avoid that, what you could do is put down parchment paper, or if you had a silicone mat for your pizza pan, you could do that. That should help keep this from sticking to the pan so horribly. So on first looks and actually getting it out of the pan, it's not looking so hot for this pizza crust. Yeah, but this is the Namaste. We're just gonna have to try and see how it goes. It's gooey. This baby cooked for like 35 minutes, so it shouldn't be gooey, but it is. The flavor's not terrible, but it's not really there. Like, there was all those spices in the dough, and I was expecting to be able to taste it a lot more. Tasting something that I'm not really sure what it is. It must be the crust, but it's not tasting the way I was expecting it to. Yeah. So, okay, if we're gonna rate this, I would give it, for how easy it was, I would give it a 4 out of 10. Now, technically, it was actually really easy to make. It only needed water and oil, and it did actually give me instructions about the fact that the batter would be a little bit weird. It would be batter, not dough. But honestly, spreading it out on the pan was not quite as easy as I would have liked, and getting the pizza off of the pan was not easy at all. It was really hard. So 4 out of 10 for that. As far as ingredients I had to add in, 10 out of 10. I mean, honestly, you can't get any simpler than water and a little bit of oil. That's really easy. That's all I can say about that. As far as ingredients in this box, I would also give it a 10 out of 10 because I can understand every single ingredient. There isn't a lot. It seems like it would be good, and yet here we are with a pizza that I'm less than thrilled with. Okay, so texture, definitely like a 3 out of 10. When it comes to pizza, this is not at all the texture I'm looking for. I'm not happy with it. I wouldn't do it again solely for the texture because I've had pizza that tastes good and the texture's been off, and I've never gone back, you know? So I'm done. I'm over it. I'm not really happy about it. Don't really enjoy it. As far as taste goes, it doesn't taste bad, doesn't taste good. I give it a 5 out of 10. It's fine. It's not as good as I was hoping it would be, but it doesn't taste terrible. Overall, I'd give it a 4 out of 10 because even though the ingredients were great, it was fairly easy. I didn't have to add a bunch of ingredients. The fact that I basically couldn't get it off the pan and the texture was super not what I want in a pizza, I'm done. I'm not gonna buy this again. Namaste, no thank you. It's not what I was hoping for, and unfortunately, it did not turn out to be as good as I really hoped that it would. That's how it goes sometimes. Some of these mixes are great, and some of these aren't, and this is one of the ones that's just not that great. I appreciate that they're trying really hard to be healthy. I liked how informative and instructive it was, but just, it's not good enough as far as actual product that comes out. Okay, well, I'm gonna go and try to enjoy this pizza. I hope you all have a good night. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. And if you wanna see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel. Ta-ta for now.